Necesitamos estampillas posables.
You are now tuned in to your number one radio station.
Violent people.
Radio.
Welcome to Violent People Radio, episode 39. I'm Dan Rice, your host. I am joined, as always, by Sam. How's it going, Sam?
It's going well, Dan. How about you?
I'm doing pretty great. I'm also here with Pat. Yeah, I'm doing great. It's been a good day. How about you, Pat? How you been doing?
Thanks for fucking talking over me. Now I'm not doing great anymore.
Okay, well, was it great up till now?
No.
Oh, okay. Well, then, what are you going to do? Chris can't be with us tonight, but in his place, we have Cole. How's it going, Cole?
It's going good.
Good. You guys watch any wrestling here this week or anything? Because I did not. I'm ready for a wrestling podcast. This is probably
what the heck are you doing, Dan?
This is probably the least amount of wrestling I've watched for an episode ever, I'd say.
What else could you be doing with your life besides watching wrestling?
I gotta be honest, I looked back at this last week and it's like not a hell of a lot.
Damn.
Yeah. I mean, like,
were you at least doing something enjoyable like gambling or something?
I wish.
Yeah, gambling's cool.
Yeah. I went to the casino. I did go to the casino. It might have been before the last episode, I don't remember. And I was at the slot machine, and this lady sits down next to me and she's gambling, and she goes, "There's a ticket on her machine for 24 cents." And she goes, "Oh, is this yours?" And I go, "No, that was here when I got here." And she goes, "Jackpot," and just shoves it in the machine so quick.
I love that.
Yeah,
that's
so
the
I was
good
happy.
stuff.
I was happy for her. But I don't go there much anymore because I find that when I do, this is strange, guys, I lose money.
Yeah, me and my wife had to stop going to the casino. We were developing a problem.
Well, me, my sister, and brother-in-law, when they kind of first opened the casinos near us, we went 3 Sundays in a row because on Sunday they'd give you $5 free play. And all 3 of those Sundays, we all walked away winners, which I think was their plan because we became like addicts at that point. We were like chasing that high. We were like, we got to do this as our new job. We're professional gamblers. And then it turns out like, no, you don't win every time you go in. In fact, you lose money. All right, Sam, since you've been judging me, I know for a fact that you've watched, I'm guessing, only 2024 wrestling, but what have you watched?
I've watched only 2024 wrestling because no other wrestling exists to me currently. As it should be. Unfortunately, Chris is not on because they had a number of lucha matches to discuss with him. But oh well. I am here to tell you that Hechicero and Solar 1 versus Negro Navarro and Virus was the best 4 dudes just grappling match of 2024. So, looking forward to finding their places on my VP 100 ballot.
So how would you rank the 4 gentlemen in question in terms of how they grappled in the match?
Wow, great question. Hechicero, Negro Navarro, Virus, Solar. All phenomenal. Lovely gents. I'm sure all good people at the end of the day as well, which is really what I watch wrestling for.
Well,
Negro
Navarro's the Trauma's father, so he's got to be a good guy.
Exactly.
The evil gene skips a generation.
Bingo. The worse the son, the better the father. That's what they always say. Anyway, I also watched just a good chunk of Cerebro Negro, and his son, Junior. I don't know what to do with those two wrestlers on my ballot right now. They're good. Senior better than Junior. I don't know if that's a hot take. Feels pretty evident. Also introduced to Noisy Boy and Spiderfly, who I don't believe I've seen before.
That's fucking nuts. Do you even read the Lucha Roundups?
Yeah, that's the wow.
I'm so glad Chris wasn't here to hear that.
Now,
If
there
Chris
is a good chance
wasn't
I look
already in the hospital for hitting his nuts while skateboarding, then he would have gone to the hospital for that.
Now I probably can look at my spreadsheet from last year and be like, "Oh yeah, here we go. That's no, there they are, right there." I don't know if those two individuals are good wrestlers. Unfortunately, they might not be. They might make my ballot still. Who knows?
They are guys who are addicted to cool moves. They are modern Lucha's Rick Blade, you know?
But the moves aren't that cool. Like sometimes they are, but like
they've got a better
70% of
batting
the time.
average than
I think
than
they're
a
hitting
lot
at a
of
better rate than you're giving them credit for.
I don't know about that, Jack.
Did you watch Cerebro Negro versus Cerebro Negro Jr., like the singles match?
I have not. I've not.
That was fun.
I'll get there. Maybe. I don't know. That's probably ambitious to say I'll get to anything at this point.
That's November.
I am not, you know what? I'm not going to say it. That'd be a very dark episode of our podcast. Anyway, my wife is out of town next weekend, and ballots are due that following Monday. So I will be doing nothing but watching wrestling next weekend and probably figuring out what the hell was good. I watched one of the best matches that I watched last week was Aquilus and Hio de Canis Lupus and Noisy Boy versus Cerebro Negro Jr. and Hio de Fishman.
I think that's just a crazy spelling of Achilles.
That would make sense. He's dressed like a gladiator. So that seems the math checks out. That match is really fucking good. I was shocked. And Fishman and Achilles, I didn't think I was going to come away and be like, oh yeah, that is a match I want to see. And yet, here I am. And
so I'm curious. I'm curious where, I don't remember if this was one of the polls that we ran in Discord. Where do you see Fishman on your ballot? Like what range? If I remember correctly, I think I had him at number 8 on the one I submitted.
I don't think I'm going to get him the top 10. He's probably somewhere between 15 and 30. That's pure guesswork. And I could show up on the 10th and be like, oh, okay, 5. Great. Fantastic. I feel like my brain is absolute mush. I have watched what I would call maybe too much wrestling for me, Sam Damasio. But Fishman's great in that match. I wanted to see him have like a really great performance outside of working with Mascara Sagrada. Turned out well.
He is in March. He's doing a thing for Juventud Guerrera's promotion, and it's going to be a main event triple threat of Fishman. You know, Juvi's got the title, so it's going to be Juvi versus Fishman versus Lismark Jr., who is like, if you need a diagram of the phrase "old and over the hill," Lismark Jr. all the way. Like he seems to only begrudgingly participate in matches. It's as if he's got his money, but he's unhappy about it. And knowing the blueprint that Juvi works from in these triple threat matches, where he likes to have, you know, 2 monster heels double team him for a while, and then they, you know, do something incredibly stupid, and he does a bunch of moves on both of them at the same time. I dread like the current Fishman mania sweeping the nation. I dread them coming to that match and then seeing him in a match that's being called by an insane person like Juvi and being like, oh my God, what if this guy was bad all along?
That promotion runs so many three-way matches. I think that's how Hoovy won the title, was like a tournament of nothing but
Yeah.
three-way matches.
No, it was a tournament that was some three-way matches.
Oh,
And
okay.
it ended with 4 semifinalists, one of whom just disappeared. Halson Suriano Jr. was in the tournament, and then on the next show, they just acted like he had just vanished into space.
Wrestling
But yeah,
rocks.
Hoovy loves doing those triple threats where it's like him versus 2 heels, so he can be like the superhero overcoming them both. And having watched a bunch of them, they're not good. I got to say,
Hell
Juventud
yeah.
Guerrera, maybe the greatest fall off of any wrestler in history.
I will absolutely not watch that match. That all sounds dire. And I question, only person that I think should watch is Chris. That's it. Everyone else should stay away.
Well, Chris, in one of the Lucha Roundups, he did a spotlight on one of the Super X matches that was a dog collar match between Io del Pirata Morgan and Demonio Infernal. And at one point in the dog collar match, to like show how badass and tough they were, they grabbed the collars and like ripped them off of their necks, like Hulk Hogan ripping off his shirt. And I remember, when I saw that, I'm just like, how is that not like a disqualification? How does that not end the match if you're not dog collared anymore? Meanwhile, Chris was writing it up like, it's fucking amazing. I love this shit. Give me more. Like,
Chris is a man of
come on,
taste,
bud.
and I appreciate that about him.
You got to respect the stipulation above all else.
Yeah, I saying that, and also Mascara Sagrada versus Fishman from in a Bull Terrier match, where both wrestlers, I say less than 50% of the time, are both of them connected to that dog collar. It rocks. Anyway, we ran a poll in the Discord for the VP 100, being like, "Hey, where's Adam Priest ranking?" And people were telling me majority say 1 through 10, and I was like, I don't know. I love Adam Priest, but I'm looking through the matches, and I'm like, I don't know what he's gonna be doing with this. You know what? Frankly, majority slop to get there. I have watched a little bit of him from this past year. Just feel like, okay, what do we got here? I watched him versus Adam Priest. And sorry, not a little. So him versus Andrew Everett. From January, I watched him versus LeBron Cazone from June. I don't know.
I think there's like a strong, I hesitate to call it a flavor of the month aspect to Adam Priest right now, but between him and Brian Keith and the new K Monito, we are in an era of short kings right now. I think it's
I
just
love
a
short
cultural moment where we're just like, we love our 5'1" champions.
I do feel like I have resentment over not enough people being high on Priest's 2023. I'm like, where were all of you? And why are we spending this energy when you're hyping up his matches against Kevin Blackwood and LeBron Cazone? What are we doing here? What are we smoking, kids?
I really
I
liked
did,
the
yeah.
knocker match, but I'm like I think I'm on an island on that.
It might be really good. I'm gonna watch it, and I'll probably be like, "Yeah, that was really good. That was really enjoyable at least." But also, like, I thought his match versus Anthony Henry last year, the no disqualification, no ropes match, was one of the best matches of the year. And I'm like, I don't know what he's gonna do this year to justify topping that kind of performance. And if the whole bit is like, oh, he's the best person in all of his matches against lesser wrestlers, let me tell you, he was going against a lot worse wrestlers in 2023. Where I was like, that is more impressive than doing against Kevin Blackwood, who I think is maybe like the least offensive wrestler I can think of. Like, when I don't look at him, he doesn't exist. Where I
I
think,
think that's the meanest thing you can say about any wrestler ever.
Whereas I think Lucky 13 sucks. Anyway, I finished the week with 2 great matches. And that is Jake Something versus Mad Dog Connolly from September in DPW. Jake Something, a truly polished big dude. And Mad Dog, the opposite. A deeply unpolished, pretty average build sort of guy. It rocks. I think we don't get enough of Mad Dog playing underneath against a guy who's like good. And then the real, maybe the highlight of the week, a match that Dan has called 3 stars. It was fine. It dragged a lot. Tim Strange versus Necro Butcher from I don't know what in November. It kicks ass. It takes place at a Las Vegas strip mall bar. And it is just a concussion per second. Whacking each other with a cowbell. It is a bull rope match that is won by pins and submissions. It is bloody. It is violent. It is 2 dudes who have very high BMIs. Tim Strange in particular. It's professional wrestling. It's beautiful. Everyone should go watch it immediately.
Have you already begun the deep dive on Tim Strange's 2024, like with Mr. Payne?
Oh, I have not. We'll see if Tim Strange has got the goods as far as that goes, and have people have illegally uploaded his matches onto the interweb. But that's it, Dan. I'm out. I'm spent.
It's weird to be on the other end of a necro match. Like I rarely find myself the low voter on a necro match. I liked it. It was good.
Yeah, you're a coward. I get it.
I mean, it was fine. I don't. I think the match was 40. I think it was 48 minutes long.
I
got places to be.
20 minutes long, I think.
I got.
And there's a restart in it, so it's even less than that. Honestly, embarrassing. Anyway, I can't find him on Cage Match, so Tim Strange might not exist.
No, well, I think Necro's in this weird world where ever since he came back from injury, like almost none of his matches are in Cage Match. They're all taking place in bars and parking lots, and they don't really even exist. And that fucking
dial up Sugar for me and be like, hey man, I can help you out in a very real way that's going to be impactful to your bottom line.
All right, Cole.
Loco, no ring, no master. Killer Cash versus Necro Butcher. That's got to be great.
Why wouldn't it be? That's a cage match.
I see it exactly.
Yeah. Cole, what are you? Have you watched any wrestling?
I watched wrestling today for the show.
Today,
so I had something.
That's what I like to hear.
Is that the first time since the last time you were on the show, or?
Possibly, yeah.
That fucking rules.
My pledge this year to watch less wrestling has been going way better than I expected.
Same, brother. Amen.
That's healthy as hell.
But today I was thinking, what's recent that I wanted to catch up on, and I wanted to see the top 2 matches from the CZW 26th anniversary. So I watched Tarzan Duran versus Jimmy Lloyd, which was just kind of like a nothing hardcore match, and they didn't do anything with tubes because I guess they wanted to save that for the main event. And it seems like Tarzan Duran brought like a real axe with him to the ring, Because Jimmy Lloyd was trying to do the like Nick Gage pizza cutter spots, but the crowd was not giving him anything for it. And he was like, "You want it over here?" They were like, "Eh." But he was super gingerly rubbing Tarzan Duran's forehead with the axe like it was made out of glass. So I think it might have just been sharp.
Tarzan Duran, he has a lot of matches where one of his big spots is he retrieves something wrapped in a towel that he brought to the ring with him, and it's like a gigantic actual kitchen knife. And then they do like the pizza cutter, Mr. Pogo scythe style shit with it. But there was one time where I think it was for an XPW show, he was doing a promo, and he was just in a park somewhere, waving this fucking giant ass knife around. And like, as the promo went on, I found myself looking into the background to be like, okay, are any of these joggers going to stop and be like, what the fuck is this maniac doing?
Of the few wrestling matches I watched this week, you picked 2 of them to watch, so that rules. Yeah, Tarzan Duran comes off like a guy that I would like. Like, if I just see, like, 12 seconds of him, I go, that match is probably cool. And then you watch the whole match, and, like, it's the second from the top on their anniversary show, and kind of nothing happens.
What? Okay, nothing happens. Schlack comes back.
Well,
and apparently no one was excited about that but me. It was like, oh my god,
yeah.
Schlack.
Well, that's because I'm looking forward to this weekend watching Ricky Shane Page versus Schlack for Beyond.
Oh. Oh, thank God.
Schlack was already back in my heart, and he's back in Beyond, and we're getting Ricky Shane Page's Death Day.
It's so awesome that like showing up in CZW right now is actually just like the biggest death knell for your career. It's like the coldest a promotion could possibly be. You come out to no reaction, and it's so dire. Ricky Shane Page coming back in the main event was also just like no one cared.
I think I asked the next day.
Sell it.
The next day, I was like in the Discord. I was like, "Why didn't anyone tell me Ricky Shane Page was back?" And then I got like one response, like, "No one watches CZW." I was like, "That's fair."
Yeah, I mean that's the thing. I said this today, like, why did no one tell me? And Tim was like, "Well, who cares, really?" And I was like, "That's true."
Well, that's word of mouth is so important for this sort of thing. So it takes people spreading the good word of, did you hear Ricky Shane Page is back? And that's the sort of thing on which momentum is built, the kind of momentum that Ricky Shane Page's career has never had. I do think it's insane that they're doing like a Ricky Shane Page themed show when the show has Nick Gage versus Drew Gulak in a death match.
It's for
like you would think that would you would think that would be the highlight of it. They'd call it like Gage versus Gulak Payback or some shit. Instead, it's Ricky Shane Page's Death Day.
Wow. But Cole, before Ricky came back, did you like the main event? Because I thought it was kind of awesome.
It was all right. Nick Gage, maybe just like I have such fondness for Nick Gage, and seeing him right now makes me kind of sad. Because he walks bow-legged, hunched over like a dog fucking a football, and just waddles.
Do not watch any other Nick Gage. This is the best he's looked in so long.
That's what they were saying on commentary. I was like, surely that can't be true.
No, they're not lying. He looked alive compared to his other matches and his other appearances.
Clock.
Once he like got psyched up in the last third, I was into it. Because he was just cooking, he was bumping, popping back up after everything. It was like, all right, maybe he is back. The energy's there. This is like the only thing on the show the crowd cares about, I think. All like 20 people that are there.
To be pedantic, there is one spot that like this has bugged me about Nick Gage for like 20 years, is that he'll let people like stab him through the heart and he'll like throw him off buildings. But then sometimes, like Judge Joe Dredd or whatever is gonna do a run-in, and Nick has to like peer over his shoulder because he's afraid of the bump he's about to take. I don't know. Like he's a guy that will sometimes like really, really be looking for a spot. And so before the big run-in, he has his head like turned, like waiting.
That's so awesome. I didn't even catch that. I was
Yeah,
just like, oh
it's-
man, it's Judge Joe Dredd.
Yeah, Judge Joe's here. I'm in.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know. It was okay. I didn't like super love it, but they both bled a bunch, and there was light tubes and other things that I associate with like CZW and death matches and anniversaries. So,
Okay. Did you watch any non-CZW matches this recently?
yeah, I also watched Akira Maeda and Yoshiaki Fujiwara versus Super Tiger and Nobuhiko Takeda in the UWF in 1984, and that kicked ass. That was fucking
Hell
sick.
yeah.
I don't know if you've heard of this Tiger Mask guy, but he's pretty good.
Better than everyone says he is. In 2025.
Yeah, no one really fucks with Tiger Mask anymore. You don't hear him talked about. But I was like, this guy's fucking cool.
Some fucking nerds on the internet decided, a Tiger match actually sucks. The Dynamite Kid matches stink butthole. And you know what? Fuck them. Fuck them. Tiger Mask the GOAT.
Tiger Mask is fucking sick. I also watched him versus Fujiwara in a singles match. That was also fucking awesome. So maybe I'm just gotta only watch like old shoot wrestling, and then I'll be rejuvenated with my love for wrestling. Because this was like the most excited I've been about wrestling in like probably like 5 or 6 months.
More than the Ricky Shane Page thing?
More than Ricky Shane Page got me like up there.
Okay.
I was already kind of in an elevated mood, and then this really put me over
Climax.
the edge. Yeah, it was a bit of a climax. That's all the rest.
Man, we cannot stop talking about Ricky Shane Page on this fucking podcast. Dan is just.
I got.
because he's a draw.
Dan is like, I have not watched any wrestling. And then like, but I found time for Ricky Shane Page's #1 promotion.
He didn't wrestle. I didn't watch him wrestle. Guess what? Spoiler alert for next week. I'm gonna be watching Ricky Shane Page versus Slack. So strap in.
Question, does DJ Hyde still own CZW?
Yeah.
As far as I know, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. Yes, he does.
Does RSP have the pen?
That's a good question. RSP has recently moved to the Boston area, where I saw something about he's going to be in Boston for like most of the year. I think Boston might be a little too far of a drive for, if he's doing anything like at the CZW Academy or anything like that. But maybe he's got, control for the booking.
You know what? I wouldn't put it past him. Wouldn't put it past him.
We gotta ask the Grapply podcast boys, because I think one of them is actually in the fucking CZW Discord.
Oh yeah, isn't a bastard DJ Hyde's personal friend actually?
Yeah, so
Fucking bet.
yeah, we gotta get some sort of special crossover event between OGP, VPR, Regress, CZW.
Oh,
Hey, Dan, how good is the Cage of Death main event?
I don't know that have I used the word good to describe it?
I don't know if I've heard you describe it. I don't listen to you. So
Oh, okay.
I needed you to tell me now.
I would not. You should not watch that.
Oh, okay. I saw it and I was like, I don't know, maybe. I don't know.
no, you gotta watch the TOD final. That's
I
the
really-
good one between Mickey and Judge Joe Dredd.
Mickey seems really excited, and so like, I don't want to talk bad about it because Mickey rules. But no, don't watch that match.
This whole card is giving me hives. I just don't know where it comes from. There are people I've never heard of, and there's also Deshaun Pratt. Shout out Amasis.
Deshaun
You know what?
Pratt
Good for him.
is like a
He's excited to
CZW
see
regular.
wrestling. What?
He's like a CZW regular.
Oh yeah, he's been there a long time. But shocking that he's continued to wrestle. You know what? The fact that Assyrian Portal did not end his career, probably not for the best, but still interesting. Interesting.
I had someone within the last, this might have been a year or so ago, non-wrestling person send me an Assyrian portal like clip off of TikTok and be like, "Do you know about this?"
Is it the
I was like,
fucking Joe Gacy Ryan Slater one?
Probably. I don't even really remember it, but I remember being like, "Yeah, I'm aware. That was like a decade ago."
What the hell was that tag team name? It has escaped me.
Couldn't tell you off the top of my head. But the real question we got to be asking is: does Ricky has the book for Beyond? That's his birthday. He's got it for that
Still?
show, but I think he's taking it over. That's not true, but it's the thing I'm going to say.
Okay.
Yeah.
You could tell me anything.
We'll know. We'll know if Beyond starts booking a lot less intergender matches for Wrestling Open, or a lot more.
I'm going to go ahead and go next though, just because that was two of the matches I watched. So you already heard heard what I feel about it. Outside of that, I watched Slim J versus John Schuyler for Viral Pro Wrestling. They had
Hell yeah.
their second of two. It's very confusing. I believe this is the second match in their best of three series. Cage match, for whatever reason I'm seeing, only has this most recent match labeled as best of three, but that doesn't really make sense. I think this is their second match, and they're tied 1-1. It fucking rules, and like it rules so much that I almost like I want someone to tell me if there's some John Schuyler in TNA I should watch. I know the answer is no, but he's so good as a heel here. Just lots of fun stuff. I mean, they're just two great professional wrestlers, and at the end, John Schuyler, it's such a good spot, and like he just makes it so good. He gets Slim J to shake his hand and then kicks him right in the nuts. And I'm like, fucking yeah, let's go to the third match. Like I am locked in on Viral Pro Wrestling, which I didn't know existed like a couple months ago. So I watched that, and then I started to watch the Omni show that WWE put up on the Vault. I only have watched the first two matches. Pez Watley versus Jesse Barr, and the Spoiler versus Johnny Rich.
A
And
friend of mine listened to like Dave Meltzer talk about that show, and apparently Meltzer's opinion was that it was a bad show because the promotion was not doing well at the time.
I have a screenshot. He tweeted it. Let me tell you, I was going to read it.
Okay.
This is Dave Meltzer. Why people are romanticizing this show, and I do like the talent here. This was the promotion struggling badly, not drawing well at all, to the point that the majority of shareholders sold their stock to Vince McMahon shortly after this show because of that. So what that sucks because I thought I liked what I watched.
Well, you
But
were wrong.
now I know they did bad business, so it's like fuck, that
Fucking
must have
idiot.
sucked. Yeah.
I mean, that is like the coolest way to decide whether or not a show is good. It's just like, is the promotion hot? Then it's good. Is the promotion cold? Well, it's bad.
And I know I don't follow Meltzer like I used to. I used to subscribe or whatever, but like I know that he's more positive on modern WWE than I am. But like by that scale, wouldn't they be the best wrestling ever?
No, because CMLL, he's consistently impressed by how CMLL can do like 200 shows a year that move almost 10,000 tickets, and that the fans will stamp the floorboards and make them shake.
He's such a weird fucking old man.
I
But my
love
actual
it.
thoughts on the show is I'm not even like a NWA. Like I like the wrestling, but it's not like my favorite wrestling period ever. It's not like my go-to stuff. Man, it fucking used to be better. Like Pez Watley right now, based on this match, would 100% be in the top half of my VP 100. Probably very, very top. Like he could be a superstar in AEW or WWE. Like that match is so fucking fun. And then the Spoiler versus Johnny Rich. The Spoiler does. I mean, it's not like the craziest stuff ever, but like, he just does so many fun things where like he puts Johnny Rich like he puts his head like through the rope, so he's half in and half out, and then he just kicks the ropes, which sends Johnny Rich tumbling over, and then just so many fun ways for the Spoiler just to like throw him out of the ring. Like he tosses him out of the ring probably 4 or 5 times, and each way is a different way, and it's really fun. And hopefully tomorrow I get to watch the rest of the show, but people should check that out. This is footage we didn't have, so like people were more excited about the Terry Funk thing, which we had, but I don't know. But there have been people excited about this until I guess Dave Meltzer told us all we're wrong. But wrestling used to be better. People, all 4 of these guys throw better punches than you'll see from 90% of the workers today. If we had Pez Watley in the Spoiler walk around on the indies right now, you would never talk about Adam Priest, is all I'm going to say. And that is all the wrestling I watched. Pat, you watch anything?
So I had an issue that took up a lot of my attention this week with the animal health issue. So I did not get to a lot of wrestling. I want to apologize to Eamon. I told him that I would watch the Dragon Gate match he sent me as my punishment for him sending 20 blurbs to the VP 100 or the VP 2010s. I'm sorry, Eamon. I didn't get to watch it. I want to give it the full attention that we all know Dragon Gate truly deserves. I did watch Io del Fishman versus Mascara Sagrada from February 16th in Arena del Valle. And it was good. It was fun. They're setting up, it was the usual, like, Rush versus Park style, bullshit finish where one of them gets the pin, but the ref, actually disqualifies the guy who got the pin. But they were having fun, and they were literally throwing each other into the audience. At one point, they throw each other into just straight up knock a woman in the front row on her ass. And that is the kind of ECW style sheer fuckery that I love to watch in wrestling. My other wrestling stuff for this week is getting really, really mad at fucking Danny DeManto. Because I bought a ticket to the ICW Cambridge show because I wanted to see Sadika versus Cruel. Turns out, no Sadika, and they're doing Cruel versus fucking Ace Romero. I cannot begin to describe the depths of my fury at this, that I paid money for this show, and I'm probably going to end up going anyway because they are having fucking, who's facing Kaplan? I got to look up the card. But I was like, that was the thing. I was like psyched all month, like, all right, I'm finally going to be live and in person for a Sideka match, and no, I'm not. So I think I might just stop watching wrestling.
People in the the Facebook deathmatch groups are convinced that Danny always knew she wasn't going to be on the show, or at least knew pretty early on, and still just kept her on there to sell tickets.
It wouldn't shock me.
But you did already
of
forgive him on Twitter.
Yeah, but that's not binding.
Oh, okay.
I can forgive him as a person and still be furious about the situation. So they're doing Matt Tremont versus Kaplan, so that could be cool. On the other hand, they also have JT Dunn on the show, so that's probably not cool. And they are doing Tank versus Little Mean Kathleen, which I think is the kind of match that actually would get me to stop watching wrestling. So that is, if you are listening to this and you will be at Sonia on March 1st, I'm not going to the Beyond show. I don't give a shit. Fuck Rishi Kane Page. But if you are at the ICW show and you see me, buy me a hot dog or something to allay my molten fury over Sadika. I don't know if she's injured. I don't know if she just doesn't have the paperwork to work in America. Who fucking knows? It was awesome because like right after DeManto announced it, she posted on Instagram just like completely not acknowledging any of it, just posting like thirst traps. And there was Instagram user I like the boobies was all over the comments being like, I can't wait to see you on Saturday. So I just want to know who on our Discord has the Instagram handle I like the boobies. Anyway, other than that,
I hate to call you out for lying, but wait. Skinny Strain says, can't wait to see you live on Saturday. I like the boobies says, she better bleed on us.
yeah, he had another comment too.
That's great.
But yes, she better bleed on us was
That's
the
beautiful.
one I think I shared with the violent. If you want to see weird shit I find on Twitter and Instagram every now and then, Some of which I actually withhold and only post to Dan, Sam, and Chris because it's usually a bunch of crazy racists in the comments of women's wrestlers. But if you want to see that kind of shit, that's what we have on the Violent People Discord. That's my segue into talking about what's going on in the site. I think someone wrote something this week.
Oh, this guy that wrote something. I got thoughts on him.
They're all positive, people. I did write something on the site this week talking about BP 100. What I've kind of learned through my watching journey this year. Honestly, most of the journey started once the year was up, which always feels like the case. I started looking back through like all my notes of all the wrestling I've watched previously, because otherwise, if I don't write notes, I will not remember that shit occurred. And I was like, oh shit, I did watch that. But anyway, I spent a large part of the year watching bad wrestling, but I need to tell you about other stuff too. About, hey, there is some good in the world, and you should know about it, and you should vote in the VP 100. But go read my piece. I've heard people say some great things about it, such as it made me excited to vote, and Sam is back. So
I did think it was a very charming piece.
Thank you.
The
I
featured
do think
image is beautiful.
It is Mike Payne's beautiful, beautiful eyes. I love it. Are we gonna have anything else on the site? No, probably not.
Well, I'm still, every now and then I'm sitting and trying to hack away at that Brinley Reese fucking thing that I stupidly promised I would. And I cannot tell you, like, it's like passing a fucking kidney stone. Like, I think I've got, 2 paragraphs, and that's from like sitting there for an hour staring at the screen. Like, what do I? There's nothing to say about NXT undercard women's match. Like, I might as well write about fucking, I don't know, like water droplets. So this is going to be the thing that drives me insane.
I have some breaking news.
More than what's up?
I want to let the Podcast P family know that after today's episode with Dwight, I plan to take a break from the pod just to focus on getting my body white. Paul George is taking a break from podcasting.
Oh, no.
When are you guys going to tell me? Well, he's doing it to focus on getting a championship. That's a crazy choice. You're on the 76ers. But all right. Sorry, go on.
Well,
That was
we were going to tell
they're in the game against the Knicks right now.
Told you about Schlack.
Yeah, they're in the game against the Knicks. I'm talking about like contenders.
Come on. They're third in the East.
Yeah, they don't beat the first two. That's part of a problem.
Hey man, they're just kind of playing a little possum here. They're really just blowing it until the playoffs come, and that's when they're gonna lock the fuck in.
Once Mitchell Robinson comes back, it's gonna be a different team.
The Block Ness monster? You ain't ready.
I can't believe there's 2 of you on this right now.
I don't even like the Knicks that much. I'm a Raptors fan.
Where I think Mitchell Robinson did make Jared Allen. Was it Jared Allen? Question retirement. That's how I choose to remember it anyway. No, what a great series that was. Just absolutely embarrassing themselves. Shitting their pants on national TV on a nightly basis. Go Knicks.
Go Knicks. All right. Well, that is the update on the site and on Paul George's podcast, which, again, we're getting closer and closer to turn this into an NBA pod. I guess it's time for Big Top, which I can't get back to the soundboard. Oh. Our Big Top this week is underrated and overrated periods in wrestling history. Cole, you were saying there was a discussion about All Japan that led to this?
Yeah, it wasn't like a crazy discussion or anything, but just last night on the Discord, some people were talking about feeling that 90s All Japan is maybe not everything people say it is. I think mostly related to being low on Misawa, which is not a foreign opinion to this corner of the internet, I think.
The Discord's crazy because there are whole conversations I will have no idea happen.
That was my
And this
thought too. I was
is-
like, I missed this.
I'm like, oh, I thought you just came up with this idea out your butt. And you're like, well, speaking of the Violent People Discord that you all are very much in and active in, here's the big top.
By the way, as we talk, the Discord, last I looked, has been doing a smash or pass conversation about the boys of CMLL.
Oh my god. It's a good group, guys.
Everyone join the Discord. Good things happen there.
I don't want to just immediately rehash that discussion, but that seems like a weird thing to be like. Because, like, almost by definition, 90s All Japan will be overrated just because people call it the greatest wrestling of all time. So there's nowhere to go but down if you watch it. But yeah, do you have
I'll
any?
never watch it.
You never watched Scorsese or 90s Japan? Not doing
No,
it.
I've watched Scorsese. Calm down. Calm down. You
That's
silly
what I'm telling
goose.
people.
You silly goose. There's no Francis Ford Coppola.
You've only ever seen Shutter Island, is what you told me. But
You nailed it.
Cole, do you have any other overrated that you want to get out here besides 90s All Japan?
Oh, bro, current AEW, am I right, folks?
Got him roasted.
Oh shit!
Current CMLL, am I right? And then everyone stabs me to death.
Man. Hey man, settle down.
The thing with current CMLL is you can say like half the roster is overrated, and everyone will have their own opinions on which half you're talking about.
It is overrated in the sense that they think this period is better than like 2016.
Yeah, 2016 was fucking crazy.
Yeah.
Maximo
Pretty much
Sexy,
CML
fucking
has been-
star.
has been like really good for all but like, I don't know, 2 or 3 years in the past
100
15
years.
16? Yeah, sure. Okay.
No, but the problem that you're right, 2016 was better, but the issue was there was also other good wrestling in 2016.
Oh, okay. Fair enough. Fair
Oh.
enough.
Where right now,
I mean,
CMLL
was
is
there-
competing against themselves.
In like 2018, you could say like AAA is putting on 6 shows, and CMLL is also putting on 6 shows, and then there's also like the 6 shows that with like fucking Black Terry and stuff floating around. And now it's kind of people are talking about CMLL and Fishman versus Sagrada, and like everything else might as well not exist. Lucha Memes is an up and coming stock among Discord freaks, but
Lucha Memes is good. See, I think that's my issue, is that I see Hechicero or Selhua or other guys that I like in CMLL, and I'm like, oh, that was all right. And then I watch them in Lucha Memes, and I'm like, now that was what I wanted. So they should just do more dates there, I guess.
Man, I think Lucha Memes should go back to
Really?
thinking that they can't stream any of their shows or it'll hurt the live gate.
we need Zoa in the junkyard.
That's so true.
Who?
Mr. Zoa, the enemy of Guerrero Maya Jr.
Yeah, you hate him, Sam.
How do you spell this name?
XELHUA.
Oh, okay. I got you now. I got you now.
You don't even know the
Okay.
name of a wrestler that I've seen you disparage at least twice.
Oh,
He was one
Things
of
like
our.
I only
20
read it.
Sam, you should know the guy. He was a 25 under 25.
Oh man, wasn't he
Yeah.
though?
Sam's baby.
Wasn't he though? Speaking
yeah,
of
no.
overrated,
Like Solar and fucking Hechicero and all those. I want all the Matt freaks to go to the junkyard and just like make a day of it.
Yeah.
that would rock. That would rock. Anyway, what's overrated? What promotions
What are
and
we hating
periods
on?
are we hating on?
I got one. The SmackDown 6.
Yes.
Got him. Owned.
God, I just feel like I'm a Benoit guy, and like I'm pretty sure if
We
I went
know
in my
it.
garage right now and I dug through the crates, I know for a fact that somewhere in there is a spindle all of 2022 SmackDown DVDs, and it's fucking fine. It's just that it was Raw was terrible, and that Paul Heyman's like, what if I let Eddie Guerrero and Chris Benoit wrestle for 15 minutes? It's not breaking like the mold. It's not. You don't want to revisit most of that stuff. There's better stuff to revisit. People on our Discord aren't revisiting the better stuff, but don't talk about SmackDown 6 anymore. What about
What's awesome
Sam or
is,
Pat? Do you guys have overrateds?
well, I was going to say what's awesome is that, the SmackDown 6 can be overrated, and yet people are so quick to shit on Cope nowadays, who, let's face it, he's the best guy AEW has, massively underrated. He's not an era, but he has as much effect on our hearts as one.
Yeah,
Let's
SmackDown
go
6
2005
maybe
Ring of
good.
Honor.
2000 what
2005 Ring of Honor.
is underrated?
Overrated. Wait, don't. Sometimes you just gotta say some stuff, Dan, that I know will specifically hurt you.
I'm trying my best to play it cool right now.
Why would
Like,
you
we're so
say
good
it's
about it, you know?
Let's drill down on this. Why was it overrated? Let's
don't
start
know.
talking shit about who was in 2005. Fucking Key
Let's
and
pull
Samoa
up
Joe.
all the shows. Let's pull up all the shows.
Let's go.
Let's
card
go
by
one
show
by
card.
by
one.
show why they're fucking
Fucking
overrated.
skinny dweeb in basketball shorts and a Pepsi tattoo.
I will say I know for a fact the first 2005 Ring of Honor show that has Colt Cabana in the main event, so you might be onto something.
Yeah, and the Danielson Homicide series, I don't think it's particularly that good.
Well, you hate Danielson.
Danielson, overrated. Period. Hand to God. There you go. Best of American Super Juniors, not a good show. I've soured on the Aries versus Gibson stalemate match. in
Best of
April.
American Super Juniors is a fucking great show. Do we're bringing back Talking Tourneys?
Did we
Dragon
not
Soldier
talk about the
B.
show? I felt like we talked about the show.
I think we plan to. It's in the intro, but I don't think we did that show.
I've been sitting and fucking waiting for it. So
People are losing their minds about it.
I think Key and Joe versus Homicide Kobashi, very overrated. People that talk about that as actually that's the better match versus that and Joe versus Kobashi are insane.
Well, yeah, that's
maybe
annoying.
should be put down.
That's a crazy contrarian take.
05 is not even my favorite Ring of Honor, so I don't know why you're doing this.
Because if I do it another year, I won't feel like I'm right.
Oh, okay, fair enough.
I just generally feel like people lump 05 in as peak Ring of Honor when it feels wrong and disingenuous.
I would take 04 or 06 over 05. I'll say that right now.
I take 07.
Whoa, I don't know about that.
I'm just saying things now. I'm just saying things because I'm not looking at numbers. Like I'm saying this like I remember what happens in 07 Ring of Honor, which is not anything you should trust me to do. If I'm saying a year specifically, one single year in a promotion, you gotta know. I don't really feel that confident that I know what the fuck happened. Anyway, what do you guys got? I felt like just bringing
So
peak Ring of Honor down a peg.
I'm gonna. This is my even more contrarian take, but it's one that I actually believe in. Unlike Sam, who's just trolling Dan. I think that people massively underrate the 98 to 2000 era of WCW. I think that it had some insanely bad stuff in it, but even the insanely bad stuff is super entertaining. And it also had a lot of fucking crazy matches that are just sneaked away into the corners of WCW Saturday Night. They did Macho Man Randy Savage versus Ultimo Dragon. There are so many matches that are just fucking cool. There are all these lucha matches. I don't know. It's and then the people who complain about like, yeah, but all the angles were bad, and it's like, yeah, so fucking what? That's every wrestling promotion ever.
Now let me put this in perspective, though. You're a guy who spent all of last year watching GCW,
Yes, and I was
so
about
like
to
you have
say
a
also
high,
underrated.
you have a high
Also
tolerance.
underrated. 2024 GCW.
Shut up.
To be fair, it might be because I've heard it described as the worst wrestling promotion to exist.
WCW or GCW?
GCW.
Well, that's fair.
Well,
I will say that I spent months last year telling people that like from January through June they did the Mance versus FE feud. That was good. Like people aren't going to watch it because it's GCW and it's FE, and I don't know if anyone gives a shit about Mance Warner anymore. But that was actually like a well executed feud.
I will absolutely take your word for it.
I watched.
I think I
You
did have
told-
Mance in.
Good for
I
you,
think
man.
I did have Mance Warner in my top 5 on the VP 2024 ballot.
Ain't that what it's all about? Just ranking fuckers. Just be like, hey, here you go. That's a name.
Mike Payne, number 7.
Mike Payne, number 69. No,
He would fucking love that.
I'm gonna get. He's gonna be so high.
Now-
unfortunately, folks, I guess I'm gonna, some Mike Payne news for you that I sent to Dan and the other people in the VPR group. The match lady talked about last week. You don't remember because you really weren't paying attention to the Mike Payne talk, is my guess. Even if you've been this far into the episode, when we talked about that Dame match, and I said Dame sucks. That wasn't supposed to be Dame. It was supposed to be Mike Payne versus, you guessed it, Vordell frickin' Walker. We were frickin' robbed, and I'm still mad. And I didn't even know the match happened was supposed to happen after I watched it. So I am.
This is your Cruel versus Sadika.
I mean,
truly.
Yeah, but you might still get Cruel versus Sadika. He's never getting. Mike Payne's done. He's
He ain't
never
ever
getting
coming
that.
back. He
Wrestlers
retired.
don't unretire.
They don't do that. People of their word.
It's so sick if like it's like they can't do it in ICW and then Sadika shows up at like the next fucking MLW taping.
If you
Court has
Court
powers.
could pull that off. Yeah.
Court, like, and he's exactly the kind of galaxy brain person who would be like, what the world needs right now to heal is Sadika versus Delmi Exo.
It will just be versus Cruel, but 0 blood to be had.
I mean, maybe they juice it with like a cool fucking stipulation, like the tribal combat match, whatever it was called, where they had to like give Mark Henry head to win the match or something.
Now you guys keep saying Cruel. I don't think Cruel's in MLW. Now Mad's Cruel Kruger.
Shut the fuck up. You son of a bitch.
That guy's in it. Like he could wrestle.
Did you know that they made an action figure of him?
No, I didn't know that.
It's an MLW branded Mads Kruger action figure, and he comes with like a fucking like plumber's pipe that he can beat people with.
No, I'm looking at it right now. $40.
Well, plastic's expensive.
That's insane.
But you own a piece of history when you buy it.
True.
Overrated 90s All Japan Juniors.
Okay. See, I was gonna say one of my underrateds. I don't know if it's underrated hearing you guys talk about All Japan, but I was gonna say 90s New Japan underrated, but it's
You know what? Yeah, 90s New Japan
heavyweights.
underrated.
Yeah.
We've come full circle on a lot of things. And now I feel like the whole thing is underrated.
I mean, Hashimoto, fucking Muda before he sucked. And then when the WCW guys over there, that's fun as hell. And it's just, I don't know. We don't talk about it. We're talking about Four Corners.
Speaking of Japan, especially after the shameful fucking performance in the Hall of Fame balloting, FMW underrated. It's like people just want to watch the Onita matches or just want to watch the Megumi Kudo matches, and they don't want to give love to the real greats like Hisakatsu Oya. They don't want to watch Rick Bogner as Big Titan. They need to, I mean, you guys need to look deep into yourselves and figure out what the fuck is wrong with you if you don't want to watch fucking Gladiator and Big Titan. And Horace Boulder. But that whole promotion was just like up and down, just fucking sick as fuck.
Another underrated AWA. I feel like the Victors really wrote history there. And it's just not a thing that's ever like, I just don't, no one ever, like outside of like the farthest corners of the internet, no one ever talks about the AWA anymore. And Nick Bockwinkel fucking rules. You know, Shawn Michaels before he sucked, and just even their late era stuff is, if you go back and watch it, some guys been posting it on YouTube, and I was watching it a while back, and just fun stuff, better than anything that's on TV right now.
My memory from like, you know, internet smart discussion circa like, you know, 1999, 2000 is that people would agree like Nick Bockwinkel was great, but unless you were like the kind of weirdo who was like, you know, a Phil Schneider type, no one actually like watched Nick Bockwinkel. They just heard he was great and repeated it.
That's fair.
It was almost like a name you could throw out. Yeah, but it was like he was like specifically a name you could throw out to be like, oh, you like Kurt Hennig? Well, I like Nick Bockwinkel.
I think I've seen other people say this now, but like I remember that I thought Greg Gagne was the worst wrestler to ever like lace up a pair of boots. Long before I ever saw him wrestle, I was just like, I know this guy's fucking awful because everyone said he's awful, and then you watch him and he's just
I
fine.
think you were just upset with him because of you thought he had an association with Joe. You just were like, I cannot get on board with this guy at all.
But like, and then you like him and like Jim Brazell, like they're like a fun tag team sometimes. But like people, like old wrestlers, like other wrestlers, shit talk him so much on shoot interviews that like I'm like, he's the worst. I just know he is.
You know who gets underrated a lot? I'm just going to come out and say it, Vampiro.
All right.
He categorically cannot wrestle, has never been able to wrestle, even in the peak of his stardom. And that does not matter in the slightest. Being able to wrestle is the least important thing about pro wrestling.
What are the things he can do?
He can occasionally throw a punch that looks good, possibly because it's real. He is weirdly charismatic for being a crazy person. And I think that's all he really needs.
Next month, Vampiro's wrestling in Ohio against this guy Bryant Huff in a match they're calling a lucha style match. And I wish I could go to it, but I'm out of town that weekend. But I wish I could go to it because I'm like, what does that entail? I know it doesn't entail Vampiro bumping.
Absolutely not.
But this is probably his Chillicothe, Ohio retirement, so gotta swing by.
Well, you got to at least, you know, get someone to like fan cam it for you, because otherwise, I don't think that match is ever being seen by anyone.
What about you, Cole? You got any more underrated, overrated?
I don't know. Underrated is hard because it feels like it's just like stuff people don't talk about that much. Like I feel like 2000s New Japan is kind of underrated, mostly because no one actually wants to watch it. They just want to see a guy go, Inokiism almost killed the company, and it's like, but Inokiism was badass. It was actually sweet, and they should do it again.
Well, yeah, I think underrated is hard just because it's like it seems like every single era of wrestling has at least one champion.
Well, yeah,
they're really loud about it.
Would you guys agree that late 2010s New Japan has been maybe just slightly overrated?
Yeah, mostly because early 2010s New Japan is where the actual great stuff is.
It's overrated because Shingo Takagi and Tomohiro Ishii were 1 and 2 on the 2019 We Don't Know Wrestling 100. That should not have happened.
That's crazy.
You're telling me? Yeah, I can't
Although
think of
honestly,
anything.
at the time, as a 19-year-old, I probably was like fucking super heavy with Will Ospreay versus Shingo Takagi or whatever.
I think
I will
I'm
also
just
add
Dan.
to the category of historically overrated 2010's REGRESS. Because
Honestly,
I
kind of
remember,
underrated.
I mean, maybe
yeah.
it's underrated. Maybe in 2025 it's underrated, but as it was happening, like
Oh,
suddenly
yeah.
in 2015, I was seeing people like jerking themselves off about Marty Scurll, and I watched. I think it was Rev Pro. I watched like a Rev Pro show, and I'm like, fucking, this is it. Like these people are working themselves into a lather for the fucking Sumerian Death Squad.
Yeah, it's all the best stuff that's ever happened in Rev Pro has been like New Japan offer matches or Chris Hero.
Yeah, it's just, I don't know. I mean, the whole like Rev Pro, WCPW, like all that stuff. No offense to the hosts of Regress, our beloved Violent People Labs uh, uh, internship program, or whatever the fuck we call the weird little side podcast we let people do. But man, I mean, 2010's British wrestling, like I love stupid shit, and I feel like I love the Young Bucks, and I feel like this stuff was like somehow even more irony poisoned than I could handle.
And then you
Cole, when
watch the
is the
Young
next
Bucks.
episode?
That's a great question. If we're just gonna keep it real on Violent People Radio, I just got like kind of depressed and then was like, I don't want to watch Progress Wrestling right now while I'm
So do you want to
while
go?
I'm bummed
So where do you
out.
land on this overrated, underrated discussion on REGRESS, which you almost defended, and now you're telling me it gave me depression?
Other stuff gave me depression, but then when
Okay.
you're already bummed out, you don't really want to be like, and now I'm gonna go talk about how I like Jimmy Havoc, because that's like a humiliation ritual.
It's a
That is a
testament to
kink
the
you do not
enduring
have.
power of progress that it can have that kind of effect on someone's disposition.
Yeah,
I
I
love
think
that.
specifically the last episode, just talking to a bastard and hearing from someone who was kind of there about the pain he was experiencing going back to small room British wrestling was like some sort of powerful like vaccine to me, and I had to reject Progress for a while. But Regress, I promise it'll be back. We're not done yet.
So
I like the Violent
I-
People Lab. I like the Violent People Lab feed, because it's just Cole talking about wrestling that I have zero interest in watching. But I like listening to you talk about it.
Well, you're welcome.
That's the cool
That's-
thing. When it's something I'm not interested in watching, you can just listen and not have to watch. If I'm
the nice
interested
thing
in
about
it, I'll never
Regress
listen.
is that Regress is tightly focused. It generally has a coherent thesis statement. It's everything VPR isn't. But I was going to ask you guys, mid 2010s pro wrestling gorilla, over or under?
Over.
Or exactly correctly. I mean,
probably
maybe it's,
over, because that's when the 5 stars started getting handed out like candy.
And to be honest, I have no idea what people think about that era of promotion in 2025 anymore. Like, at the time it was hot, and I would say overrated at the time, but now I'm like, I don't know what anyone cares about this promotion for.
The thing about PWG is that like it feels like most people caught onto it about 2 years too late. Where like all the best stuff had already happened from like 2010 to 2015 basically. Like I remember Simon always called it the ultimate Obama era indie. And then after the Obama era, when like Keith Lee versus Dijak happened, is when suddenly like Reddit and whatever was on to PWG and was like, this shit's crazy. But like the peak was already over. You still got little glimpses like the Chuck Taylor title win or whatever, but like
Yeah, but then
Good
yeah,
stuff
and they
had
were
already
also
come and gone.
right. They're doing the Chuck Taylor title reign, but they're also like booking Mark Haskins.
Yeah. And I mean, even during the best of times, they were booking fucking the Fightin' Taylor brothers or whatever, but
Yeah, this is a card that has a 9.37 rating on Cage Match. Ryan Cage versus Biff Busick. Mike Bailey
well,
versus Trevor Lee. The
that sounds
Beaver
good.
Boys versus World's Cutest Tag Team.
Oh. Oh.
Chris Hero versus Tommy End.
Oh.
Ciampa versus ACH. Chris
Oh,
Sabin.
here we go.
Chris
Next
Sabin
one's
and
good.
Matt Sydal versus Dan's favorite tag team, the Monster Mafia.
Oh.
Ricochet versus Andrew Everett. And in the main event, Roderick Strong versus Zack Sabre Jr.
Well, there's still like 4 sick matches on that show.
Yeah, like there are sick matches on that show.
Including
Also,
the main event.
I would never watch this full show.
No, I
In
absolutely
any
would
sense.
skip most. I would probably watch Brian Cage versus Biff Busick because I love Biff. But it probably isn't
Even
that great.
even at my peak of liking PWG, sitting down and watching an entire show in a row was fucking
Yeah.
tough.
Oh yeah, that was like a 2 or 3 night. You know,
But
like especially because the DVDs were split up, like they didn't include any of the entrances, so it was really easy to be like, okay, I'm gonna dip out and come back tomorrow night for the rest of this.
I just wouldn't want to watch most of these matches. But
Definitely
also,
don't want to see Beaver Boys versus World's Cutest Tag Team.
that is the only match on the show that has the rating of not enough votes for total rating.
Also, we
very
don't know.
funny.
It could be great. It could be 10 out of 10.
Could be
If-
great.
if you-
You
if
have to
click
watch to
it,
find out.
Sleeper
if you
hit.
click
of
it, it'll
PWG
show
era.
you the individual ratings that it does have.
I just clicked on it. A 6, a 7, and 2 8s.
2 8s.
Good
Yeah, it needs
fight
5.
between the two
It needs
teams.
5 ratings to.
These are all from within the last year, these ratings, too, by the way.
Jesus Christ.
I don't know. I feel I'm stressed out about that.
So here's my other. I was going to ask about one more. You know, taking the temperature of if people feel that this is over or underrated. I'm going to say specifically 1999 WWF.
I don't
Probably
fucking know,
overrated.
man. My brain's mush.
I'm gonna say underrated because that's the year that everyone has the reputation of like, okay, Russo went insane. This is when like, you know, I think that was the year that Austin out that year? I can't remember. But, you know, that was like the people saying like, okay, the Attitude Era is starting to turn sour and has to die to give way to 2000. I'm like, no, 1999 still had a whole bunch of awesome stuff. It's just, again, you have to enjoy insane nonsense. And if you don't enjoy insane nonsense, I'm sorry, but what are you doing watching pro wrestling?
Well, if you don't enjoy insane nonsense, then how are you enjoying the Attitude Era to begin with?
Yeah,
'Cause it
exactly.
never
It's
really
like,
lets
I don't
up.
know how you can, I don't know how you can be like, okay, 1998, that was a good year. 1999, though, a little too much Road Dogg.
I would say
Is there ever enough Road Dogg?
No. That's
Damn
why
right.
we're
I would
glad
say
he's back
don't
booking.
revisit any of it. You're good to go. Don't pull up any 90s WWF. Just skip it all. You're fine.
Never watch wrestling.
There you go. You found it.
Yeah, I'm looking at 99 WWF shit, and I'm like, I don't know, man. You couldn't pay me to watch this. You know what? That's a lie. You absolutely could pay me to watch this. If you want me to watch 1999 WWF, let me some bills.
I don't know if this is in poor taste. Overrated? Grand Hamada.
You know what? Not in poor taste, but in the sense that you have poor taste.
Okay, no, he's great, but like when he died, everyone's like, without Grand Hamada, there wouldn't be wrestling anymore. We would be living in a post-apocalyptic wasteland.
Oh, sorry. No, that's just like a reverse engineered Dragon Gate jerk off.
Yeah, that's what it felt
That's
like.
all
It
it
was like,
was.
this has influenced every single drop of wrestling you have ever watched. And I'm like, okay, cool.
Well, it comes back to what I was saying earlier: is that we are in a cultural moment of short kings, and there is no shorter, more kinglier man than Gran Hamada.
We would not have short kings if it wasn't for Grand Hamada.
But now you say that,
I
that
can't
sounds fucking awesome. If everyone in wrestling was 6'6" or taller, that sounds cool as shit.
I mean, eventually the moment is going to rebound back to like people being like, who was fucking sick actually? Test. And
No, everyone needs to be over 6'6" or under 5'6". No in between.
Well, yeah,
I
because
don't want to.
being like 5'8" is embarrassing. Like, look at Adam
Yeah,
Cole.
like who gives a shit? Like, what do you?
Adam
What are you-
Cole is
what are you
6
trying to
feet
prove?
tall. I saw that on the fucking website.
I have a story that really fits well here, but I have to admit something that I'm very embarrassed by. So I'm listening to Hornswoggle's podcast.
End the podcast there. Just end the episode there.
John Thorne's on, and they're doing like a Hornswoggle and AIW retrospective, as you do. And they start talking about his match against Scott Steiner, and Scott Steiner's like, I need another little person, but he's not using that word, but he's like, I need another little person. The match doesn't work unless I get a woman and another little person. And he's telling Thorne this 36 hours before the show starts. So they find him a female trainee, but Thorne can't afford any little people wrestlers besides Swoggle. So he brings Cabana Man Dan. Who's
You
just
know
a
what?
dude. He's
Hell
just
yeah.
a 5'5", 5'4" dude. And
That's
then
cool.
I mean,
Scott Steiner
that
gets there
makes
and
me,
goes,
that makes me
that's
think
not a
of
little person.
how. That makes me think of how Demus last year, he had WrestleMania weekend, he had the one match versus Mad Dog, and then he like flew to Arizona to work like a little people wrestling show.
Damus wrestles in America every single month. It's crazy.
It's very funny
Demus,
that his-
another
it's like-
example of our love of short kings, by the way.
that Demus has essentially two separate professional wrestling careers. And it almost guaranteed that his minis career is far more lucrative.
Sam is.
I feel like
Oh,
he and Mascarita Sagrada have like a good, like, they've just got the match that they can sell to any promoter.
where do you live again, Pat?
I live in Boston,
Oh, okay. How far away is Baltimore from that?
like a 9-hour drive.
Okay, that's pretty far. New England's all the same. Okay, Sam, what about Buffalo, New York? How far is that?
Baltimore is not in New England.
It's all the same to me. What's Buffalo, New York? How far away is that?
Like 2.5 hours.
Okay, well, Buffalo, Catanagia, McGraw, and Watertown, New York. If you're near any
Wait,
of those,
you said McGraw?
yeah, McGraw, New York, May 8th.
That's like 30 minutes away.
In May 8th, Davos would be 30 minutes away from you.
There's a lot going on right now. Yep. If
I think what we need to do is we need to order
Dan,
a
is it-
mug to send to Sam to give to Damus.
Dan,
Oh,
is your Facebook working right now?
I think so. Why?
Mine's Facebook is down, I believe, but McGraw Box Brewing Inc. I can't
My
find
Facebook-
information.
Pulled you up?
What?
I pulled up Facebook and it's working.
Okay. Yes, this is a. Unfortunately, I do think I need to talk to my wife and be like,
That's
"Hey,
3 days before my
I've-
birthday, so I might maybe you fly me out as a birthday present.
Wait, what date is this on?
May 8th.
Oh, I don't have a car that weekend, so that's going to be a no bueno.
Oh, man,
My
these
wife's
ticket
going out of town
prices
and
are.
she's taking the car.
What do you guys think front row at this show cost?
$60.
$30.
Oh, it's 45, right in the middle of you guys.
Sorry, that was less fun for you.
And then you add in Tim, you get a little meet and greet with Damus.
Oh,
Is it is it a little person show or is it just a show that Damus is on?
No, it's a little person show.
Midget Wrestling Warriors LLC.
Yeah. Which I have asked them if they wanted to get some kind of strategic partnership going with Violent People. They said no thanks.
They said
Oh,
no thanks.
They said
I
no
Come on.
thanks.
guarantee we need to ask DJ Hyde because if we slipped him like $50, I feel like he would put our fucking logo on the center of the ring.
Wait, how many mugs do you think we could sell if we encourage people to bring them to Fans Bring the Weapons matches at CZW?
I do remember seeing this last time I looked in this exact promotion, but it is very funny that Angel Dust is part of this tour.
Oh yeah, I was trying to
Angel
get
Dust, who is just an average woman.
Yeah, normal woman. I tried to get Thorne to book.
Wait! You don't say that. Don't say that.
What? Oh, sorry. Whatever. Average size woman. Whatever. But I tried to get Thorne to book Damus, and I was like, no. He's like, these shows. He's like, I don't know about anything about these shows. And I was like, Angel Dust, who used to work for you, is a regular. She's getting flown all over America, and he had no idea.
It is bananas. Why do they have so much money?
I feel like when you say anything like about like this person who used to wrestle for you, that has like a 50-50 chance of being like, oh, you mean the fucking person who stole from the locker room?
I went to one little person wrestling show in Tennessee one time, and it was a packed house. It brings people in.
Yeah, Canandaigua was like an hour 20, and that's in April. So that might be more in the cards. You would think they'd be next to each other time-wise, but not so.
No, their schedule's real crazy sometimes. Like they're like in Ohio, back to Arizona, in Ohio, then to Florida. It's like I don't understand this map.
I think it's safe to declare that this promotion is underrated.
And what's so crazy is that Damus is going from like New York to Ohio to Mexico to DDT, then like to the Colorado, making towns.
How many times do you think Damus is stopped by TSC just on general principle?
Oh man.
Or not TSC, TSA. Why did I say TSC?
I don't know, man. I was very confused. We have
feels
lost
like-
the plot. What
I was
the
gonna say
fuck
it
are we
feels
talking
like that covers underrated and overrated. Thank you guys. Put a neat little bow on that. Oh man. Before I wrap it up, I should have found these questions, but I didn't.
Good. You know what? Important to know. Midget Wrestling Warriors. I don't know if I should be saying this every single time, but they have come out with a new web series. So we don't have.
Is this our new JCW lunacy?
I specifically didn't say the name of the promotion trying to be cool, and I still said something fucked up about Angel Dust. So like, I can't even win, man.
We have 2 episodes so far, and it's great because I think it has Pat's favorite wrestler in the first episode. Mean Kathleen or something like that.
Oh yeah, great.
What are we doing here? Like, dude, for men, it's little people, but when it's women, it's just women. Is that what the bit is? What's going on?
It seems like if you're a woman,
maybe they just think that people want to laugh at the little people and then get horned up watching the women.
I unfortunately think there may be something to it.
Yeah, I think you're right, and it really brought me down a little.
We're not gonna make.
We're here to expose the hard truths on Violent People Radio. The stuff that people don't want to hear, but listen to anyway for some reason.
This guy's dressed up like AJ Styles. Anyway.
Well, I mean, AJ Styles probably would qualify for a little person wrestling league. Let's be honest.
He ain't wrong.
If they can get Cabana Man Dan to be a little person for a night, AJ Styles also definitely qualifies.
Even in the world of little people touring wrestling, it's still the promoter that like puts himself front and center. Like Short Sleeve Samson, he's on the front of every poster.
To be fair, he's a draw. Like
I
wrestled
guess
for
he is.
TCW a few times. There were people there specifically for him.
All right, let's do some Q&AR.
Oh, fucking short sleeve Samson disrespect. Underrated.
Ducky says, which wrestler would survive Saw 5?
All right, who's got Saw 5 synopsis on hand? I really can't keep these things straight all the time.
Looking it
I've
up
never
as
seen
we
Saw
talk.
5.
You've never seen
right.
Saw 5? Come on.
Oh man, we've been talking about it for like
That's
3
the
months
one with Luke
straight,
from
and you
Gilmore
haven't done this?
I'm trying my best,
So
guys.
Saw 5 is about Luke from Gilmore Girls investigating the Jigsaw murders, which are being done by what's his name, sidekick boy, Hoffman.
It feels like
yes.
I'm getting spoiled left and right here.
Good luck remembering
I
any
am,
of that.
but yeah. So it is FBI agent versus Jigsaw.
Yeah, and it starts with him performing a tracheotomy on himself with a pen to get out of like a
Oh, the glass
head
box
in
head.
head in a cube of water trap.
Yeah, I remember that. Wow, what a finish to Saw 4. I was on the edge of my seat.
Hell of a film.
Hell of a film. They toy with my emotions. God, I really want to watch Saw 3 through 8 again.
Okay,
Anyway,
so I'm on the
I don't-
Saw wiki looking up Saw 5 traps as a category. Saw 5 has the water cube, previously discussed, the pendulum trap, the Fatal Fives trial, the necktie trap, the ceiling jars, the electric
Oh, yeah.
bathtub,
The ceiling jars.
10 pints of sacrifice, the shotgun chair, and the glass coffin.
The
We need to decide
the glass
who
coffin
could-
is the
who-
big close. That one's good.
Who would yeah, okay, so let's see what's the premise of the glass coffin, because we need to decide who would survive that.
I have my answer already. It's Gangrel.
Okay.
Who would survive? Because usually, it's about pushing yourself to the very extreme
Yeah.
to do something that is, damaging and injurious to yourself. So it almost has to be a deathmatch wrestler, because there are a lot of wrestlers who are like, I'm only going to do like the bare minimum I need to get over. And all of those people would immediately get their heads blown off by shotgun door traps. I'm going to say Matt Tremont. He already looks like he has survived a saw trap.
Could he fit in
He
the
may
glass
have.
coffin?
Well,
It's like a
maybe
pretty
that's
big.
That's how he gets out of it. Is fucking Jigsaw is just like, this guy's too big for the fucking trap.
It's a pretty big glass coffin. The thing about it is that you have to be in it to survive.
But I feel like he is the sort of person where he would cut off his own arm to win the pound of flesh competition.
Okay. Cole, do you have a survivor of the glass coffin?
I'm thinking, because I was thinking the Undertaker, but then I wonder if like he's better at being out of coffins than being in them, because he does a lot of coffin matches, and he usually wins those. So would he make the wrong choice and not go in the coffin, and then get crushed by the hydraulic press walls?
I will say Shawn Michaels should stay away from the coffin just for the sake of his back.
All right, Sam, do you have a winner, a survivor? Good choice. Next
Nope.
question.
Big Boss Man. I'm gonna give it to Big Boss Man.
Oh, Big Boss Man.
Big Boss Man.
Haven says, "Who's the most violent VPR host?" I think that's a good question for Cole as like an outsider. Who's the most violent?
Who's the most? That's a hard one. Maybe Pat.
Real
I feel
saw
like
trap of a question.
Pat watches the most violence, it seems, or talks about the most violence.
Chris is currently in jail for manslaughter. That's why he's not here tonight. But
Yeah, I mean,
well.
it's a trick question.
yeah,
Have any of you guys been in a fight?
Recently?
Not
No. I'm an old man.
32.
Yeah, that's what I was
What do you
thinking.
think I'm doing?
I don't.
Oh.
I don't. Maybe you got too drunk at the Knicks game and got into a scuffle.
I feel like of us, Chris probably is the most likely to end up in a fight, not one that he has instigated,
He
but
would never.
one in which he is being attacked and might have to defend himself, possibly through lethal means.
Okay, so Chris, Violent Maniac. Eamon wants to know, what's your favorite robot? A giant robot that's piloted like a Megazord, or a Gundam is a valid answer, but obviously a cyborg or some sort of power armor is not. Obviously.
Obviously.
We got any favorite robots?
Because
So I wasn't
RoboCop,
around
a
for
robot.
Who?
RoboCop is a cyborg.
Ah,
He's got the human brain. He's got the human soul.
The robot
know.
from iRobot.
there's a lot of robots.
Oh yeah. His name was I.
Well, I don't know about that.
There's the gnome from the new Wallace and Gromit. I'm going to choose that one.
I'm going to use this opportunity because I didn't get to weigh in on when the group was asked their favorite Transformer, and I'm going to say Cliff Jumper from Transformers, as portrayed by the late great Casey Kasem.
Okay. Eamon asked another good question here. I like this one better. If you were going to a fans bring the weapons style match, what weapons would you bring?
The Violent People
Besides-
mug.
I would say besides the mugs.
Ah. I like when I see a TV there. I think it's fun when people bring like old flat screen TVs.
I think they
Have
should
any
bring
of you
more
guys
VCRs.
ever-
Right.
Have any of you guys ever brought wrestling or weapons to a fans bring the weapons match?
I've never been to a show that's had one. I've missed out on that opportunity.
No, I have not.
Anyway, I would bring a bicycle because
Good one.
they would either ignore it, which would break my heart. Someone would try to ride it, and it would almost 100% look like shit, but be very funny. Or best case scenario, someone does like a Yakuza style heat move with the bicycle and clobbers their opponent with it. The only trick is I'd have to steal someone's bicycle.
I one time stapled a bunch of thumbtacks to an old N64, and Danny Havoc just took the N64.
Of course he would.
Was it a
So that-
working N64?
Yeah, and I now regret it. I'm like 10 years later, or actually probably like 15 years later, like, man, that N64 is pretty cool. I wish I had it.
Well, unfortunately, yeah, you can't exactly write to his family about that one.
No, that's probably not good.
I would submit a Bible. The Holy Bible.
Oric says, if forced to watch a 3-hour Iron Man match, which two wrestlers would you want to be the ones in the match?
So I actually thought about this one. Kota Ibushi versus Danshoku Dino.
Oh.
It cannot be 3 hours of just straight wrestling. That would kill anyone. Like if a pregnant woman watched that baby is coming out a fucking mutant. But you put in two bullshit weirdos who do crazy stuff, and I think those two could probably get 3 hours of entertaining nonsense.
Yeah, you can get like a solid hour of gay sex spots out of those guys easily. And
Absolutely.
That already kills like a third of what you got to work with.
I mean, Kota Ibushi is the kind of wrestling brain where he would like take a nap in the match as a spot.
Maybe Tony Deppen and Jordan Oliver.
Ooh.
And speaking of babies who came out fucked up, Jordan Oliver.
I actually think that might not be a terrible answer, just because no matter who's in the match, I'm going to come away disappointed and thinking less of them. So, like, I don't really want it to be two of my favorite wrestlers, because I won't be happy I'm watching a 3-hour Iron Man match. Sam, you got any thoughts?
No, Dan, I don't have any thoughts. All I can think of are good wrestlers, and I'm just like, no.
You know what?
3-hour
He's
Timothy
so-
Thatcher
He
Chris
would
Hero
want to
match.
see 3 hours of Bryan Danielson versus Kenny Omega.
You're acting like the most violent host right now. You got to calm down. Tim
I don't know.
says, how about the inverse of Aika's question Joseph posted? You can eliminate 5 wrestlers from history of wrestling, meaning all their footage and memory of them as a race. Who do you pick? Feel free to just say 1 to 3 each of brevity. You don't got to tell me how I can answer it, Tim. I can give as
Finish off
few or as
question.
many answers as I want.
He also added the stipulation that if you can't cheat by just naming like Benoit,
yeah.
we get
No
crimes.
woke stuff. The crimes
Yeah.
still happen.
No woke
Yeah, if
stuff.
if you make Benoit disappear from history, someone else just kills Nancy Sullivan.
So if I get rid of Grand Hamada, there's no wrestling. So that's like a plus right off the bat.
No, because some other short king will
Oh, okay. All right.
fill in. I mean,
Yeah, no woke
like
stuff.
we said, all the bad
No
stuff will
woke
still
stuff.
happen. Wrestling will
damn
still
it.
exist.
That's crazy. I don't know. Is it just my least favorite wrestlers?
I'm gonna say just incredible. Like, would anyone, if I hit the button to remove just incredible from history, would anyone actually cry?
My answers are probably, again, I don't know if this counts, but is this me getting rid of like what I consider their crimes? Like, could I get rid of like, I don't even hate these guys like the Wrestler whatever, but like, can I get rid of Kenny Omega and Will Ospreay and MJF because I hate hearing people talk about them?
I mean, you could do that now. Just buy a fucking gun.
What does that mean?
Okay,
Mark
now
Is he
Pat
killing
I'm not
Angle's
saying-
my
listen,
favorite
or
host.
killing them? Anyway, I would eliminate Will Ospreay. That feels like a safe bet.
That's an easy answer.
I would
wanna
also
get rid
eliminate
of-
Eric Bischoff. I find him very annoying.
Oh my god, it would make MLW better, so I support that.
I would like to eliminate Triple H from the record. But again, obvious choices here.
Yeah.
Obvious choices.
Who would you like to sign his racism to?
Oh, Court
I mean,
Ballard.
like, it's already there, right? Like everyone, you can pretty much just like take any wrestler there and be like, oh yeah, they were
That's true, they
also racist.
they already have it, yeah.
Anyway,
But okay, so in this alternative timeline where Triple H doesn't exist, who becomes like the son-in-law of Vince McMahon?
Oh, and it's Test, and now Pat's like hates his life because Test is the guy. Test now runs WWE.
Test is the guy.
No,
Test didn't die.
I like Test. Where are we getting that?
What
I
if it
hate
saves Test's life?
Yeah, I mean,
That's
Test.
beautiful.
Actually, he
that
might do
nice.
even more steroids because I think a lot of the problem was how much he damaged his internal organs. But wasn't he the only guy who TNA was like, you are too obviously roided up. We can't use you.
Yeah, he had like one appearance.
I'm trying to think if there's any obvious TNA. Actually, you know who I would fucking disappear from history? Matt Hardy.
Oh, that's good.
Yeah.
Why
He's
Matt
fucking
Hardy?
annoying.
He
Okay.
just gets on my fucking nerves, and it's like he does the bits, like the broken bits and all that stuff, but he's not especially good at them. So if all that stuff was just to get transposed onto someone else, and we ended up with like broken Roderick Strong or something, like that would be way more entertaining than the fucking slop that we actually got.
Another obvious answer: Bubba Ray Dudley.
True.
Basically anyone from ECW is still wrestling, like Tommy Dreamer, if he's still like get rid of him.
Oh, take that back.
I don't really mean that. I'm thinking of
Yeah,
there's guys
don't
like
disrespect Rhino like this.
I would say I like Too Cold. I'm sure I like Rhino. Colin Delaney's from WWE ECW, so I got to keep him around. But yeah, like Tommy Dreamer and Bubba Ray Dudley, get rid of him.
0 episodes since Dan brought up Colin Delaney.
Colin Delaney and Ricky Shane Page, get used to him, bud.
Oh man, I just googled TNA Test, and I was like, yeah, I remember this. This is good stuff.
Yeah, because he came back as the Punisher.
You know what? Eliminate Sting.
Whoa.
Ooh.
People got too high on it.
Which one, Steve Borden or Jeff Farmer?
Good old Steve. Good old Steve. Realtor
Real estate
Steve.
I think maybe we should.
Sting's sons.
Oh fuck!
Oh, Keiji Muto. Get him the fuck out
I
of
was
here.
just gonna say I want to
Yeah.
eliminate
Great
him.
Muta
so
ass.
We can talk about his retirement match.
Ooh, who's gonna become the Great Muta now?
Andrew Martin.
the Great Muta.
The great Martin.
No matter who we
Great
get rid
Martin.
of, Test picks up the mantle.
Oh my god.
Did Test ever work any All Japan or anything?
I don't know. He might have done like a Japanese tour after. I can't remember because when he got let go, like I'm not sure that like New Japan was in any position to hire anyone, let alone pay their plane tickets. So he might have done some shows somewhere, but I don't think it was anything.
He
It
wrestled.
wasn't a legendary run like Rick Bogner in FMW.
No, I disagree. Dan, shout out the Natchez. Let the people know.
He wrestled twice for Team Vader Time on show 1 and show 2.
Mhm.
His first show, he main evented the first show. Test
Mhm.
defeating Lance Hoyt, and then Test versus Nagai in the semi-main event underneath Kojima versus Michael Faith, a man we all know.
I love it.
Michael Faith seems like the post Born Again redemption arc for Michael Payne.
Oh man, I wish. And he
Mike
comes back
Payne,
and wrestles
Mike Payne,
Bordeaux
Mike
Walker.
Payne. Oh, his Facebook does make me feel like that Mike Faith comeback is upon us.
So I think we started with the Ducky question, so we're going to end with a Ducky question, which seems very similar, but I guess different. Which wrestler is most likely to... Oh, no, it's different. Okay, which wrestler is most likely to die from the monkey?
I haven't seen it. Can't speak to it.
Speedball Mike Bailey, probably.
Probably,
No,
I was going to say Shima.
No,
those are great guys.
This is a trick question. We're missing the obvious thing. It would be Ultimo Guerrero. He tried to get rid of the little monkey, and he would die for it.
Oh, it's Shingo Takagi.
Is that... I couldn't remember which of the Dragon Gate guys was the worst to the monkey, but...
Yeah, I was wondering. I was like, it's Shima. What did Shima did? But I couldn't remember any monkey abused by him.
I can't remember which of the Dragon Gate weirdos abused the monkey. I don't have time for that.
I think Shingo Takagi had the picture.
If it wasn't for
Yeah,
Grand Hamada,
Shingo,
the
like,
monkey
was,
would be
choking
fine.
It wasn't. Ain't that the truth?
I think that wraps up Q&AR.
I think this is the episode that people will go back and ask, how did all 4 of these people have gas leaks in their home at the same time?
Oh, I think it's been a hoot and a half. And Cole, do you have anything to plug besides your show is definitely going to be released very, very soon?
No, that's it.
All right.
Just check out Regress when it comes back.
Everyone should be watching 2024 wrestling. And if you're listening to this and you got this far into it and you're listening to us answer those questions and you're not submitting a ballot, I don't understand your life.
Oh, also importantly.
Yeah, if you can't fucking think of 50 wrestlers, like, I mean, literally, what is going on with your brain? Especially when people do the fucking like, I can name 100 wrestlers better than MJF for fun, which is purely performative weird stuff, and yet you can't put it to a positive end and name 100 wrestlers better than MJF who are also your ranked 100 favorites for the Violent People 100. Like, fucking pick up the pieces of your life. I'm sorry,
Yeah,
I'm just upset because Chris is in jail.
You can write for the site, send your pitches our way. Also, if you want to do something on the Violent People Lab feed, my goodness, I would love to give you access.
It's not just Cole's.
It's not just Cole. Cole doesn't own it, actually.
I promise it's not just me. Sometimes other people do things. You're allowed to do
We're
things.
specifically looking for a competing Rev Pro podcast to pit against his.
That'd be very funny.
Actually,
now,
if we could get someone to do like a What Culture podcast?
I was hoping someone's going to do an ICW, the real counterculture wrestling taking place in that part of the world.
In Glasgow, Scotland.
I don't know.